Center and your friends here at WOCA, The Source.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Good Tuesday morning, the day after football is done for another 6 to 7 months in college. Still got the pros to look at, but college football is done now. We have a champion. I'm Tom Schmitz. I'm coming to you live from the palatial studios of WOCA Radio, just outside the food court entrance to the Paddock Mall in a overcast but balmy Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. On the phone lines with us, joining us every day as he does, brought to you by the good folks at Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center in Penn, Florida. Galen, Galen, two things. One is this is the kind of weather I could deal with in winter. This is perfect weather for me in the wintertime. And two, were you really surprised about the outcome of last night?
Yeah, I agree with you on the weather. I mean, I'd like it to be more of like in the 80s, but I guess I'll take 62 over 38.
100%.
And as far as the football game, you know, I alluded to it yesterday. The line kind of went to 8.5 last night with the over at 70. What was it?
75 and a half. 75 and a half.
75 and a half, yeah. And so I got in on it at 74 and a half. So I hit on both on my little parlay.
What was it? 50? What was the final score? 56-24.
Yeah, it was.
So that's
it was
80
like
points.
76. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, something like. Anyway, yeah, it was good. So I won, and let's be very clear. I don't think there was any doubt that Alabama was the best football team in the country coming into the playoffs. And then the way that defense played yesterday, it just showed that they're the best. That they're the best team in the country by far. And we need to go back and really credit that Florida offense for running it up the way they did against that Alabama team in the SEC.
The score at the half was exactly the same as the score at the half of the Florida-Alabama game.
Absolutely. And by the way, I mean, you would think if you're a coach, if you're the defensive coordinator at Ohio State, you would say, you know, I've been watching film, and this number 6 seems pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Maybe we should do something to cover that guy, number 6. You know, even if you didn't know what his name was, when you watch film of Alabama and you don't see the quickness in that first 2 or 3 steps that number 6 has, you shouldn't be in football. And they could not stop him.
No.
They could, and credit to Alabama for being creative in the way they got him open. But how about a bracket coverage? They have linebackers lined up on him 3 different times.
That second touchdown that he ran the not the post, he ran the out to the end zone.
Yeah.
To have a guy with the number 50 on his back covering him made 0 sense. 0 sense.
And where's the safety on the play? I mean, the safety is at the other hash mark, and I'm like, maybe Jones, pump faked him.
No.
The safety just bailed to the wrong side, and it was a perfectly thrown ball. Jones had a massive game. He just made himself a lot of money in the NFL. I think he'll come back for his senior year. But Smith, that kid's pretty good. If it were me, I would have bracket covered him and just say, let's take our chances with everybody else.
You know what?
They never left their 4-3. Do you notice that?
Well, they went to a 4-4. They went to a 4-4. Once Najee Harris started gashing them, they went to a 4-4. And so then that opened up the receivers again to gash them again. So it was look. Here's the thing. And I never thought I would say this, but I'm going to say this. And please understand when I say this, that you need to keep control of the wheel of your car, and you don't need to spin out of control in shock. Can you do that for me?
I can do my best. Do I need to pull over?
I'm going to defend Ohio State here for a minute. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Is this Tom Schmidt?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
In Ohio State's defense, when Deontay Smith breaks his finger on a hit and goes to the sideline, they next manned up, and they couldn't stop those receivers either.
That's fair. That's fair. I thought about that. They stopped them on that next drive where they just kicked the field goal. But it just goes to show you how much talent Alabama has. And Nick Saban is the best college football coach in the history of the game.
Yet, when you say that, and I agree with you 120%. You and I are in lockstep that Nick Saban is the best coach to ever coach in the ranks of college football. It's not even arguable, in my opinion. But he's only the second. But wait, he's only the second most popular coach at the school he coaches at.
Well, that's always the case. It's like the backup quarterback.
Every day he walks out on that field, they open it. When he walks out and sees the big jumbotron, first thing he sees is a houndstooth hat. That's the first thing Nick Saban sees every time he walks on that field.
I mean, he knew that going to Alabama. Everybody who coaches there, Ray Perkins felt that. I mean, it's.
But if you ask Alabama people, hey, Coach Saban's great. Oh, he's great, but he's no Bear Bryant.
I've had the fortune of working with him and his wife. They've done PSAs for us before about donating blood. And he just looks at his wife, and his wife tells him exactly what to do on all of these, and so it's kind of fantastic. But he is a. You ask people in Alabama, hey, would you get rid of Nick Saban to bring back Bear Bryant? They're like, no. No. I really believe Nick Saban has surpassed Bear Bryant.
I believe so too. But
Alabama.
I find that hard to believe. But
you got to, you grew up, around the same time I did, where Bear Bryant was this mythical figure, and then it became Bobby Bowden, right? And then let's see, because you got to remember the end of Bear Bryant's career was rough. Let's see how Nick Saban ages, because Dabo Swinney's got a chance of becoming a very, very, one of the elites of all time. I think he's up there with a Lou Holtz level now. I think Bobby Bowden is a special guy because he's such a great man. But we'll see. Let's see how Nick finishes.
I'm going to make Florida fans angry here, and I'm a Florida fan, and I know that we as a fan base are some of the most arrogant people on the face of the earth. Okay,
you're not even rational.
I can honestly say that.
You're worse than Cowboys fan.
I can honestly say that as arrogance goes, it doesn't get more arrogant than a Florida fan, and I am a Florida fan. I wear orange and blue glasses, so I'm the first to tell you that. But I'm going to anger some Florida fans here. What would we have in college football if Urban Meyer had his health? If you had the likes of Urban Meyer, his health. When you had to
that's not why he left.
No, stress. Look, I know the man. I've talked to the man numerous times. My mentor wrote his book. Believe me, say what you want. I know for a fact, stress, anxiety, and the drain that it had on his heart is why he left football. I know that to be fact.
State a year later.
Right, and then he got there because it was his dream job, and it almost killed him too. I know this to be fact.
Well, then you better not go to the NFL.
No, well, I agree with you. I think it's the dumbest thing that I've heard in a long time.
I'm not a.
By the way, you don't have to be a fan of Urban Meyer's to see that he could coach football. Now he did it sometimes.
Tight end,
well, hold on. He did it. Like I said, he did it sometimes with the dregs of civilization. I'm not going to argue that fact either. But I'm just saying, on the bare bones of it, how great would it have been to have Dabo, Urban, and Nick Saban for 20, 25 plus years going after each other?
Yeah, I get that. Maybe, and what tainted me was the way Urban left.
Oh, yeah, tainted every Florida fan.
And not only that, I think his legacy is forever tarnished. I don't know if I don't know if it's redeemable.
Well,
So he was fortunate enough to have arguably the greatest college football player ever.
he didn't have Herschel Walker.
I don't know, but he had Tim Tebow, who I believe is and then he destroyed. Well, Mullins destroyed one of the best raw recruits to ever come out of Ocala and John Brantley.
You
So
know, let me see.
he
And
destroyed.
I disagree
him.
with that. I disagree with that. I think what destroyed John Brantley coming out of Ocala was the legacy of his family as Florida Gators. John
Should've went
Brantley,
to Texas.
if he didn't have that
Should've been a different
legacy,
quarterback.
he'd have went to Texas, and Mac Brown would still be at Texas.
Yeah, and John would have been probably could arguably still be in the NFL.
100%.
Owen tried to turn him into a running quarterback, which is something he never was.
No.
Athletic guy. So I blame that on Urban Meyer too. So
Hey, we got to take a break. We got to take a break real quick. When we come back,
good, because
we'll talk.
maybe you need to rethink that, Urban Meyer.
We'll come back and talk more about a guy who we haven't even mentioned, and he was just as big a factor in this game to me as Deontay Smith. We'll talk about that next. You're listening to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. Galen Unall from Life South, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. We'll be right back after this short timeout.
People ask me why I've worked at Palm Garden for so long, and I tell them it's the people. I love to hear the life stories, especially those from the greatest generation. Celebrating life stories is what sets Palm Garden apart, finding out what's important to them. And I love being a resource. Like Macy's Santa, if I can't help, I'll send them to Gimbel's. After all, Palm Garden is located on 34th Street. I'm Jan from Palm Garden. Call me and let's chat. 854-6262.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Tuesday morning, overcast but warm Tuesday morning. Cold front will move in later this afternoon to the south of us to bring chillier temperatures back for your morning commute tomorrow. But right now it's pretty good. Galen Unall joins us because of Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. They're located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offer skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions about Palm Gardens Health and Rehabilitation Center, call them at 352-854-6262. Also, Penn Flooring, family-owned and operated, serving Marion County for over 30 years. They're a full-service flooring company specializing in both commercial and residential flooring. Go see their showroom at 1201 Southwest 17th Street here in Ocala, or give them a call at 352-351-3420. Back to the phone lines, talk to Galen Unall from Life South. Galen, we talked about, how Max did, and we talked about how Deontay did. But, Najee Harris had 3 touchdowns. He had 7 receptions. They didn't have an answer for that backfield, Alabama, as well as the Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver.
Well, I expected Ohio State to stop something. Right, as a defense, Alabama does a lot of things well, but Ohio State just went in there and said, "Yeah, we're just going to play our base defense and let's go, let's roll," because they really felt that their guys matched up one-on-one with Alabama's guys, and it just wasn't the fact. And So therefore, because they weren't trying to stop any one thing, they were trying to stop everything. They ended up stopping nothing. I get it. You know, Harris is a really special running back. Got great hands. He's going to play. He's going to be a Kamara in the NFL because he could do it all. But if you're Ohio State, you have to start everything by stopping Smith, and they just didn't do that from like the first series. They just pretty much ignored him.
In the first half, he had 2 touchdown catches in the first half, 7 receptions, 153 yards. I mean, that's a game for a lot of people. He had that in the first half.
And it wasn't, in the first quarter. I mean, he had exploited him. And you gotta take him away. And I'm talking about putting 2 men in front of him and saying, let's play. You know what I mean? Bracket coverage. Do some zone with the safety leading over. But they kept trying to leak a linebacker, and he is going to destroy.
He destroyed a linebacker every time. Speaking of linebackers and destroying, I played linebacker. I destroyed my fair share of people when I was playing linebacker. I would get thrown out of every college football game I ever played.
You would.
I would get thrown out.
That was an illegal hit by battle.
By rule, it was an illegal hit. By rule, it's an illegal hit, and he had to go out of the game. Without doubt, the letter of the law was followed. He got expelled for targeting. It's a dumb rule.
His head was on.
It's a dumb rule.
No, it's not. It's not. You got to see what you hit. There's a reason why your neck is compressed. There's a reason why people call you a no neck.
Well, no, my neck's compressed because I got a stinger in the 9th grade and went and used Mabel's a neck weight machine and made my neck go from my dad. My dad had a 19-inch neck, so I was going to have a big neck. But I got a stinger. If you ever get a stinger and your whole left side of your body goes numb, it scares you to death.
Yeah.
So I went to Des Hamilton, the wrestling coach, and go, I see your little guys get dumped on their head all the time, and they don't get hurt. And he took me over and introduced me to Mabel, which was the hydraulic neck machine in the weight room. And I worked out of that thing 30 minutes a day, and that's how you end up with a 23.25-inch neck.
Well,
I have to get a chain, to get a necklace that looks right on me, it has to be 26, 27 inches. I have to buy over 2 foot of gold chain to make it look right.
All right, big time. But again, you got to see what you hit. That's all. See what you hit.
I would have got ejected from every football game.
Right. But I'm okay with that. I hate it when people hit with the crown of the helmet, and it's not what they do to the ball carrier. It's what they do to themselves. It's just it compresses the spine and it opens up the opportunity for spinal injury. That's it.
You're right. It does open up the opportunity for spinal injury. You're right.
By you lifting your head and seeing what you hit. And you hit with the forehead and the face mask rather than the crown of your helmet, and you can live a little longer, I'm okay with it.
Well, last night was the crown of the helmet.
And he hit him with his head.
Right, last night was the crown of the helmet. I have seen numerous times, though, where the forehead and the upper face mask gets used, and they get thrown out for targeting.
Well, it depends on what you're hitting. And what they need to adjust is when the ball carrier spins in the last moment, and then they make contact helmet to helmet. That's one thing they got to adjust. But as long as you see what you hit, it's a legal hit.
Well, I just know that I would never be able to play the game just like I told a friend of mine about coaching. If I can't grab them by the face mask, yell words that you can't yell in front of your mother at them and kick them in the rear end, I don't need to be coaching because that's not how coaching's done anymore. So I stay away from the game as a coach because I know that I don't have the ability to coach in the 21st century. I don't have the ability to play in the 21st century either.
Well, there are times when you can yell at the kid, but it can't be every day. They'll shut down on you.
See?
The kids will just shut down on you.
And if Coach Eagle or Coach Derryberry in high school, or if Coach Spangler or Coach Vance Pike or one of those guys had to yell at me on a daily, almost minute-by-minute basis, I probably would have played soccer.
Well, and again, I think some kids you can yell at and they want you to yell at them. You can't. You can't. There are some kids you yell at them that you're not going to get the best.
I got the word spot
and a good
built.
coach.
I have the word spot built permanently on the cheek of my rear end, pal.
And a good coach knows, right? A good coach knows what motivates his kids.
Yeah, I was motivated by, and I was always the guy that the coaches would come and tell everybody how terrible I was because he knew he could say that to me, and everybody else would be, what are you talking about? He's out here killing us, and you're telling him how bad he is.
Yeah, but a good coach knows that.
Yeah. Hey,
You know, and some kids, they're so fragile. If you do that, they'll break down and quit.
I know a couple guys that I played high school football with that quit for that exact reason, with tears in their eyes, bawling like they were a 3-year-old that just dropped his ice cream into a pile of duck. Well, you know where that goes. You know how. You remember what Eddie Murphy said.
Sure.
You remember what Eddie said. Hey,
That's right.
Guess what? Guess what premiered today on this day in history? I'm going to give you this. On this day in history, January 12th, 1966, a full, are you ready for this? 6 months and 15 days before I was born, but still, it shaped who I was as a child. Do you know what premiered on television on this day?
No, go for it.
Adam West as Batman.
Hey, they had a Batmobile at the auction.
Uh-oh, see, I hate that.
The 66 Batmobile was a replica.
Well, that's when the show premiered, 1966. On this day, January 12th, 1966, Adam West and what's his name, Dick, Bert, what's his name, Bert something. I forget his name.
Everybody knows Adam West. Nobody knows Robin.
Yeah.
It should be.
But it was, wham, pow, bang. I learned those words as a 5-year-old watching that show.
There you go.
And I thought if you hit somebody in the nose, that wham would show up. So I tried to hit people all the time to see if I could see the word wham.
And this is why the coach had to scream at you.
Well, it's probably why I got expelled from 3 different pre-K programs.
Yeah.
Kicked out of the nursery at the bowling alley.
Well, that's never good.
Asked to leave 4 different Catholic schools by the 6th grade.
Wow. Yeah.
I was
My son
always
got
searching.
thrown out of the daycare at church. How about that?
I was
That's
always
pretty good. He got permanently banned from it.
Who did? Your son did?
My son got banned from.
Uh-oh. You just got banned from, Twitter just cut you off, or AT&T just cut you off for being a Republican.
Oh,
there you are. You're back now. You're back now. Thought you went away a parlor there for a minute, but you're back now.
Yeah, I deleted all that stuff.
Yeah, but Batman premiered on this day.
That's pretty good.
Dick Ward, Burt Ward was his name. Adam West and Burt
the
Ward.
great thing about that show is the bad guys, the villains were so
Cesar Romero.
So great.
Cesar Romero.
Oh, he was so great.
Burgess Meredith was the penguin. Whack, 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 whack.
Sure.
Long before he said, "What are we waiting for?" In the Rocky movies, he was the penguin on Batman.
That's correct. That's correct.
Frank, who was the Riddler? Frank Gershwin.
That's it.
Oh, Frank Goshen. That was it. Frank Goshen. Great Goshen. Riddler. Cesar Romero is the Joker.
He was fantastic. He scared the heck out of me.
Oh, he was terrible. Hey, speaking of something that's very good, though, blood donation. Where's the Bloodmobile today?
Hey, today we're going to be out at the Villages Walmart out there. And again, we're always on the boulevard, 1607 East Silver Spring Boulevard. Get the life, donate blood.
Thanks, Galen. Talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
All right, be good, man. Bye.
That's Galen Unall from Life South, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Rehabilitation Health and Rehabilitation Center. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up on today's headlines, and then at 9 o'clock, it's In the Garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
The happiest place on earth will become a COVID-19 vaccine super distribution site. In a statement Monday night, county supervisors said Disneyland in California will be one of 5 large points of dispersing sites that collectively would be able to vaccinate thousands of residents each day. After being shut down Sunday night by Amazon Web Services, Parler hit back Monday, filing a lawsuit accusing the tech giant of violating antitrust laws by cutting off the conservative-friendly social media site's presence on the web. In a complaint filed in federal court in Washington state, Parler said Amazon's decision was motivated by political animus and designed to reduce competition to the benefit of